everyone, and welcome to another episode of Couch Potato
Queens.
I'm your host, Sam Meier.
And I'm your other host, Josh Mendelson.
Josh, you are looking great today. I love this plaid vibe that we've got going. We are really living our holiday oats.
Plaid lady
grains,
realness, honey.
Yes. Lumberjacky.
Can we do Jackie, but like a classical, like some Jaqui or something? Let's do that type of Jackie.
Lumberjacqueline.
Jacqueline. Lumberjill, Jacqueline. I love.
Oh, I love it. Okay, well, I am so excited. We're bringing a regular back. Folks, you know her, you love her. She's Detroit's premier Queen of Mean, and a favorite of the Couch Potato Queen Network. Put your hands together for Alex Meitz. Woo!
Yes. Oh, and you're
hey, baby, hey.
Someone's rocking some new hair today. Showed off.
Yes.
So cute. So darling.
Big shout out to Daniela Wallace who did my hair. Thank you, Daniela.
Thank you, Daniela. We'd love to see it. Miss Alex, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm wonderful, and I'm ready to talk about these 2 episodes because these are 2 of my favorite episodes of the whole season. So I'm really glad that you had me on for these.
And you survived your own sort of ordeal today.
Yes,
with a car battery situation.
My car battery died today and we had to get it changed. It was a nightmare, but I made it in time to be able to do the podcast.
And we're
the Survivor...
The show must come on.
The Survivor gods were in my favor today. They were like, we're going to bless you with a new car battery.
Cultural guardian Jeff Probst appeared to you in a vision and said, I will get you there in time.
He did. The Couch Potato Queens to live it up.
I rang a gong and he showed up.
Well, with that, I say we hop right into it.
Let's go.
It's time for Life at the Beach. So we kick it off with Life at the Beach, and Richard is talking trash about our beloved cultural guardian, Jeff Probst, at Tribal Council. I mean, Sue's out here. She's like, come on, Jeff, come on. About Jeff trying to probe them for dirty details about the alliance. I mean, and I got it. Come on, Jeff. What do you think? Sometimes he gets lucky and people do spill their secrets. But for the most part, I feel like people play their cards, even from this early season, very close to their chest at Tribal.
The funny thing is, though, he called out an alliance. You think if you're a smart player, you catch on, maybe there's an alliance. Maybe people are working together. They've taken out they're starting to take out all of the Pagan tribe. No Takis have gone home. I wonder.
Yep. And Colleen also wonders. She thinks she's got it figured out. But at this point, if you don't have it figured out, do you have enough brain cells left to even function in the outside world? I mean, come on, girl.
What I find so stressful about these 2 episodes, but also is why I find these 2 episodes so compelling, is Colleen's journey, really. And I said it before in the last episode I was on, is that I am not the biggest Colleen fan. And it is because I'm like, baby, what is you doing? Mm-hmm. I'm like, you are the only person who sees this, but yet you say it to the cameras, you say it in every single confessional, but you're not saying it to anybody else. You see it, you've seen it since essentially day 1. She's the only one who's realizing it, and she just isn't doing anything about it. She literally isn't doing anything at all. And so I'm just like, girl, come on.
What is you doing?
So our last episode, Nicole also had an issue with Colleen as well and literally did a bash session at the end. Yep. So you need to take on Nicole. Who hates Colleen more?
You and TikTok Nicole can have your I hate Colleen club. Okay, so then we, though, get into this weird, yet again, Rudy's homophobic corner, but all of the straight men are talking. end this conversation. And Rudy markedly says, I sort of liked him before I knew he was queer. And the straight men in general start referencing the fact that they might be calling Rich some homophobic names, but like we don't really get any more on that. They're like, oh yeah, we call Rich names, but he doesn't seem to care.
It's just slightly homophobic, slightly incredibly homophobic. But
I'm just like, what
hey.
didn't we see? How bad was it that we just didn't see it? Because I feel like that would be a real contentious storyline in a modern show. And
totally.
here it's just sort of like, oh, those straight men.
I mean, it's not as bad as when I was called when I was like 11 or 12 years old a fruit roll-up. So when I was told I was a fruit roll-up, I think that's a little bit worse. Actually, the exact quote from this girl Emily, shout out, still hate you, bitch.
What's her last name?
I'm not giving her last name.
But
her name was Emily, and she's a beast. I will say it to his face. The girl is a beast. She's like 10 feet tall, scary as fuck, like whatever. But she posted an AOL Instant Messenger. I was like 11 or 12 years old. What do you get when you mix Mendelson and bread? A fruit roll-up. That made me cry so hard, but today I find it so funny. So, Emily, thank you for calling me a fruit roll-up. Like, if I ever become a drag queen, maybe my name will be fruit roll-up. So, appreciate you.
Emily, we hate you. We hope you burn in hell.
She's some doctor. She doesn't even know this exists. She is a stupid bitch.
Oh, you're a doctor? Oh. So Rich, though, is clearly unbothered by anything that's going on. He is strategic. He's got his eyes on that $1 million check, Henny. Except he's very focused until Rudy burns the fish, and Rich throws a whole ass tantrum for an adult man. Colleen literally tells in her interview, says, Rich, go get some liposuction and go home.
Dude, fuck Colleen for saying that.
You know, he must have been talking about getting liposuction the whole season, and production just never showed it. Because he did lose, like, he talks about, I think, later, like the reunion, this is no spoiler, but he talks about before the show started, he lost like 80 pounds. So before the show started, he did. So like maybe he was talking about that he had like loose skin or something. And wanted it.
Even if he did get liposuction, Colleen, that's not your fucking place to say that, girl. If she said that on a season now, she'd get dragged.
Oh, but I love it. It's legendary. It's also great.
You can't say that now. She'd be fucking dragged.
So Rich has a whole ass tantrum and decides that he's not catching fish anymore.
This tantrum is so funny to me because of the editing. There's a moment where at the beginning where they edit him because he's already like thrown some stink about, oh, well, no one's going to vote me out because I'm a provider, and no one's going to realize that I'm in an alliance because I'm saying that, oh yeah, and you can't vote me out because I catch the fish. And so people think that's my move, but really I'm in an alliance. So he has like these layers of lies to cover up his alliance, which is amazing. So good on him for having a fake reason to stay on the beach. Good on you, Rich. But what's even better is after he's talked mad shit about how in control he is the whole beginning of the episode, it ends in him throwing a hissy fit, essentially, where he's sitting at like on a bench and everyone else is cooking fish and burning his fish, and he's like
is that when Rudy burnt the stingray?
He looks over his shoulder and he's like
amazing.
Added like this really sad music while Rich is like and it's a split second, but you have if anyone's watching, you gotta go find that because it's just like whoever edited that, good on you.
Oh, I love it. So,
I love that. The side look, Alex, you should just like screenshot it like with that.
But okay, so folks, one of my favorite moments of the episode though is that Sue catches a fish and she is so proud of herself, and it's a big fish, and I'm like, Sue, get it. Quain.
Sue, your lesbian secret girlfriend is really proud of you.
So proud of you. So proud of you.
Backtrack, Alex. In the last episode, when they did the family videos, there was like all their videos from home, and Sue's video is kind of like what's going on. It's her husband. He's like a really big man sitting on the couch.
Husband.
We love an immense husband.
He's an immense husband, and her there's a random middle-aged woman sitting on the corner, like in the corner of the room, and we're like, who is this woman? So we think it's her secret lesbian lover, like
her live-in gal pal.
Gal pal.
Sue has big lesbian energy, and we love to see it.
We do. I would love for Sue to be a gay icon, like years down the road.
I just think she should
say it now. Sue is my gay icon. So
mine is Sean's nipple piercing.
Doctor with a nipple ring. Okay, so let's get to the rewards challenge. So for this rewards challenge, we had a high ropes course. The prize for which is American barbecue and a letter from home. Everyone gives very competitive interviews, like, oh, you know, we're ready for the food, we're ready for these letters. And Rudy sits there and he's like, I'm prepared to eat rice.
He knows.
He knows.
And what's wild about season 1, and we've talked about it a million times, is these challenges. Like, these challenges are so stupid half the time, and they're not even thought out at all. And this is just like a ropes course, I guess.
But I will say that they have redone this in multiple other seasons, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's where they have to race through. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This one is fine, but there's just no way that Rudy would succeed at this.
For someone Rudy's age,
There's no way.
I don't know. It would be deemed dangerous outside of the show Survivor to put like a 70-year-old man through a ropes course and tell him like, be fast.
Okay, and just like sitting there the whole time being like, keep pushing, Rudy. You got this, Rudy. And like, just leave him alone.
I'm trying.
Let Rudy do his best.
I mean, I think that he would have been zipping if they would have let him take his walker up there on that ropes course.
Oh my God.
If he perhaps had a cane available, he'd be trucking.
Damn, ropes course. Think about that race they had to do in episode 6. They purposely sat him out so he couldn't do it. Like,
so they have a ropes course with 16 total medallions to collect down different rope alleyways. And if you fall off of the ropes course, you are eliminated. So it's a pretty neck and neck battle the whole time, but by a hair, Colleen, our girl, white bread Colleen, wins the reward challenge over Kelly in a neck and neck finish. And Colleen is allowed to invite one person. Now, we all know what was coming. Letter from home. Miss Jenna Lewis did not get a video from home in the last challenge. It was super dramatic. So, of course, Colleen invites her number one gal pal, Jenna, to the barbecue.
Sam, here's the thing, though. She didn't like Jenna. No one liked Jenna and Pagan. Colleen hated Jenna, so why bring her? She talked so much.
Colleen did not hate Jenna. They were little girlfriends for the whole show. They were always together, and then they had Kelly, and then they were like Survivor Powerpuff Girls, or like Totally Survivors.
I just don't think the two of them would be friends in the real world. I don't think
on an island. They were in the words of TikTok Nicole, island desperate.
They were island friends. Island friends.
Will it last on the real world? Probably
no. Jenna's like that, like middle
but imagine
class.
how much of a dick Colleen would have looked like if she was like, oh yeah, you can't have your letter from home, after Jenna like literally cried about it for days.
I'd still not take her.
Like I would have loved to see that aftermath though. If I could go back and have like one Survivor season 1 wish, it would be to have Colleen not take Jenna on this, just to watch Jenna have that meltdown.
Yep.
Like Colleen would come back after bringing like Kelly, probably is my guess. Like that's probably who she wanted to bring.
Take like Jervis.
Or Jervis is probably who she wanted to bring, like one of them. And then instead she had to bring Jenna, and she would have come back and it would have been, I can't believe you didn't bring me after I didn't get a video from home. You know how much I wanted to hear from my kids.
It would have been great.
It would have been a meltdown. It would have been
Mhm.
a bloodbath.
Sam, the cool thing about like this reward of like Colleen and Jenna going is you see some strategy on the Pagong end.
You do a
Finally.
little bit. Well, okay, we say finally, but did any of it actually happen?
No.
Or do any good? No.
It was such a great build up though.
I guarantee you that they get there. They get to their barbecue. That's what they won, right? This was the barbecue.
Barbecue
Yeah.
letters from
I
home.
do have some words about this barbecue, but
Let's
they
talk
show
about
up.
it. Let's talk
They
about the
show up to
barbecue.
the barbecue, and I guarantee you, some producer was like, "So, you do know there's no one else here, so maybe this would be a good time to talk some strategy, right?"
Like a very stressed producer.
And they're like, "Oh yeah, okay." But okay, this is something that I wrote down multiple times in my notes, and I literally had to pause my TV while I was watching this, and I had to call my partner into the room to look at this because I've thought about this multiple times today. That barbecue meat looked disgusting.
It looked so nasty.
When he revealed the plate of raw meat, it was literally gray. And I'm like, I don't know what was up with season 1, like reward food, but it was horrifying. And then they show it again, and Jeff Probst is like weirdly barbecuing for them in the background at the barbecue, and it's the same gross gray meat. And I'm like, okay, maybe it'll look better when it's barbecued, and it doesn't. It's so bad.
It's a rat.
And I'm like, okay,
It is rat.
a really long time, so like they're probably happy to eat whatever, but like, go back and look at the meat in season 9 because you're gonna be like, what the fuck is that?
Episode 9.
Yeah, episode 9, season 1. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about barbecue.
It needs to be a good barbecue, not a bad one.
You will not see that at my barbecue.
No,
I
ma'am.
think we should do an episode at Alex's house and have Alex barbecue couch potato queen special.
Yo, anytime.
So moving on, Jenna and Colleen go. They talk about potentially aligning themselves with Jervis. Jenna gets some drawings in her letter. Her kids like made like some shitty like stickers on a page. I don't know. Next day is Rich's 39th birthday, and Rich celebrates by immediately getting naked. Rudy would describe Rich as a queer that is bare ass all the time. He is uncomfortable. Oh, I'm personally uncomfortable with the way that Richard would sit by the fire fully naked, where he would like literally like tuck, like he would tuck his dick between his legs and then sit cross-legged, like with his full upper pubic region.
I don't have a penis, so I don't know. Is that like a weird way to sit?
Real weird.
For all of my non-penis having friends out there watching, anyone without a peen, we'd like to know, is that a weird way to sit with a peen?
It's a super weird way.
He was getting ready for a drag performance.
Work. Okay.
What you'd have to do is you'd have to like push it down and then
He stuck it in
have
and
your leg come like up and over it.
He did a full
always the same way. I have noticed that he does like his little like leg move, and he's always like kind of hunched over. So
yeah,
he did a full tuck minus the scotch tape.
Tucks his penis between his legs. It's weird. It's uncomfortable.
Also, after I made my partner come in and look at the gross meat, they did stick around and watch this episode with me, and they immediately went right back into Richard's birthday. And the next thing my partner said was, "There's no fucking way Richard Hatch is 39." And I'm like, I don't know. And the whole rest of the episode, I'm like, that guy doesn't look like he's 39.
But this is also 20 years ago. They didn't have things to help with age. He's only like, at that time, then he would be 7 years older than me.
I do not think that Richard Hatch was 39. I would believe that Richard Hatch lied about his age. I would. He's
almost like 45.
He's done crazier things, and like 39 is a weird number. You're like, oh, I'm still in my 30s. Like, okay. Yeah, okay. We'll see.
That's really funny. I did not think about that, but it's true. He does look like he could have been older than 39 at the time.
He looks like he could be like 44 in that season.
I'd say 45.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, not super old or anything, but like early 40s. All I'm saying.
You know how white people age, though.
Horribly.
What you're trying to say? I know I'm the oldest one here, y'all. So.
Yeah, you're aging like an avocado. I'm teasing. You look great for your age.
Stop it! I'm 27.
I'm 42 and I look amazing. So.
Girl, get your life.
I'm so confused. I'm actually 14.
I'm 65 years old and I'm playing like Sonia, the ukulele. No, I'm kidding.
Anyway, so Jervis knows, getting back to Survivor, Jervis knows he needs to win this next immunity challenge if he wants to stay. And Sean's alphabetical order of voting really becomes a joke. Colleen and Jenna say that they are changing their names to avoid Sean's vote. But then do either of you have any comments on that, Alex?
Okay, I'm sure that you guys have talked about the alphabetical thing already.
A little bit, but not a lot.
Not too much, because this is the episode where it really is like a thing. Is this episode.
Okay. What the fuck is going through this man's mind? Like, I get that this guy's trying to be like the Switzerland of Survivor right now, but like, you can't do that. And even season 1, where like half the people don't realize they're playing a game, do you not realize that's going to piss every single person off? And does he not realize that there's a voting block happening? Even if it's not an alliance, if he's not smart enough to realize there's an alliance, there's a voting block. So no matter what, the whole group knows there's always going to be one vote on somebody, whoever is in Sean's weird little alphabetical thing. So he's putting a huge target on whoever's weak it is. He's literally painting a target on himself and whoever that is. It's literally the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
As Sue said, he's an idiot.
He's a doof.
Like, he's a doof. He is the dumbest Survivor player in the history of Survivor. Well, he's up there. He's in the top 3. Let's just say that. Dr. Sean Kniff is in the top 3 dumbest survivors of all time in 40 seasons. I will put that there now.
Like a chaotic move where I'm like, oh yeah, he's just like here for the chaos, you know? Like, he's just here to shake things up. He's just literally like, I'm just trying to be a good guy for the TV.
No, again, book smart genius. He's a doctor. He's obviously a smart person, but street smarts, none. 0. He was missing them at birth. He was not given them.
So moving on though to the immunity challenge, we get a large platform of red tiles, and all the survivors are set up at various points along the border. They, on their turn, are allowed to move 1 square. When they move squares, they have to flip the square they were previously standing on. It changes to yellow, and that square is no longer usable. So whenever a player runs out of red squares to step on, they are eliminated from the game. And we get like a very confusing situation in this game. So as we know, as we were just talking about, Colleen and Jenna are just talking about how they're like, we should team up with Jervis and try and, shake things up around camp. We should have an alliance. And the game really comes down to Rudy and Jervis in the final stretch of this game. And the girls coach Rudy.
What is going on?
What is going on? And Rudy wins because of their advice.
I do really love this challenge as a challenge because I think cool. It's a super cool idea, and it's the most level playing field that there's been so far, I think. I think there has not been a more fair challenge in the season so far. Anybody could succeed at this except Sean because he's a big dummy. But yeah, it gets to the point where everybody's screaming at Rudy. Jervis is screaming at Rudy. The girls are screaming at Rudy. Sean's screaming at Rudy. And it's like, the fact that Rudy was able to still figure it out despite like this angel devil moment that was going on for him, where there was so many voices going on. I'm like, dude, you fucking deserve that win. I'm not the biggest fan of Rudy just because he's a jerk of a person, but like he deserved that. Good on him. But what the fuck was Jenna doing?
I hate her. I hate Jenna. I really do. I mean, not as like a person who she's, but how she plays Survivor, and well, maybe I do hate her as a person. I don't like Jenna. I really don't like how you and TikTok Nicole feel about Colleen is how I feel about Jenna. I can't stand her at all.
The amount of times Jenna is just smug as fuck in this episode is wild to me.
Jenna has two faces. She's kind of two-faced.
Jenna exudes confidence in this challenge that is so unwarranted, and not this challenge, in this whole episode that is so unwarranted that it's just wild to watch, especially from this point on. Her false sense of security is insane.
So we get back to camp, and back at the beach, Richard is really pissed that Kelly is hanging out with Jenna and Colleen. He's very worried about where Kelly's going. Rudy is thinking about lesbianism a lot, just to add to his list of things that unwed parents, homosexuals, lesbians. I mean, he's got a very active imagination. The girls of former Pagong have once again painted their faces for tribal, which still feels just very wrong on a lot of levels.
With ash?
Is it with?
It was from the mud volcano, wasn't it?
Erotic mud volcano. It's something different every time. It's weird. But sort of our Pagong 3 that have assembled themselves are planning to vote for Richard. Sue says that Sean doesn't have enough balls to vote for someone on his own. And we see just so little strategy before we go into tribal. We don't see much of anything. That's just how the early edits went. But it's shocking to me that the Pagong 3 don't try to get Sean to vote with them. Like, they have a 4v4 situation.
I don't get it. I don't get why they didn't. They could have done it.
Sean at this point has said so many times that he's not going to do it, that I think that, but in like a normal Survivor season, that doesn't matter.
They could have pulled in Kelly, though. Why didn't the three of them could have pulled in Kelly and made it 4? Because Kelly was voting Sean. Why didn't the three of them vote Sean? They would have had the numbers and voting Sean out with Kelly.
Absolutely.
Why didn't they do that?
Why wasn't that communication happening? Because clearly Kelly was ready to flip because she did. But there was just no communication there. And this is, again, Colleen's fucking fault. At the beginning, she was saying there's a voting block. There's a voting block. I know there is. There's an alliance. It's happening. Okay, then talk about it and figure it out. They had the chance to get rid of Sean. They could have gotten rid of Richard even if they had talked to Kelly. Richard could have gone home this episode if they had talked to Kelly.
Yeah.
And we could have had an entirely different season if that would have happened. If Colleen would have not been such a dummy, Richard wouldn't have won.
That's true.
The reality of the situation.
So,
spoiler alert.
Sorry.
Kelly,
bleep that out.
Sorry, it was 20 years ago.
Kelly does end up voting outside of the alliance. It's a bad move, but Jenna's her friend. The other members of the Tagi 4 are going after Jenna, and they taking advantage of Sean's alphabetical vote. So they get their 4 votes, and Jenna goes home. Any final thoughts? R.I.P. Rest in panic and pain, Jenna Lewis.
Bye, Jenna Lewis.
Bye.
Until
bye, Jenna. Jenna.
You know the reason that girl was chosen to come back for Survivor was because she was on the cover of Time magazine in her bikini. That is the reason why she was somewhat memorable. Whatever. I would have rather had Stacey. I would have rather had Rudy hating Stacey back on All Stars than Jenna. So let's.
Yep. Girl, bye.
So episode 10, we are back into life at the beach. So we got to make it amusing for ourselves somehow. Jervis is calling out an alliance, calling out the Tagi 4 alliance. Like, everyone knows at this point. It's not a secret anymore. Although Sean still seems to be clueless. Like, Sean still hasn't really figured out the fact that there is a voting block.
Sean
And
is just in shock that it's single-handedly his fault that Jenna went home.
yeah,
He's like, how did that happen?
I voted for her. How did it happen? I mean,
He's traumatized.
He has no
traumatized.
He's traumatized.
Oh, well, luckily we get a strategy musical montage instead of a working musical montage. So
Finally.
get a little.
Come on, 90s music. My favorite is the softcore porn music for the Mud Volcano a couple episodes ago. That was the best.
We loved that. It was very like oh, it was like sleazy 90s rock band. Anyway, Jervis is lamenting how close they came to getting Richard out. There were 3 votes on Richard, which was significant. Richard says he'll be bringing in fewer fish because clearly people do not appreciate him.
What a good strategy move.
Starve him out.
Oh, you don't value me being the provider? Well, you don't get any fucking fish then. Then we'll see how much you want to keep me on the beach. Well, there were 3 votes against me. You get no fish. Good for him. That's why this is one of my favorite episodes, because Richard is petty as fuck. These episodes are so petty. I love it.
He's great, though. I really do like Richard. I do. He's lovable.
Sue starts laying out a plan with Kelly to double cross Rich, which is great because, as we know, that does not go well. It goes very poorly on an interpersonal level for them in the future. But, like, you know, it's cute to see that Sue and Kelly are starting to see more tension within the Tagi Four. You know, they know that what they have had going since the beginning of the game is not going to last forever. You know, we're in the final days. I think that Sue's looking at Kelly like a sister in the same way the Berts are looking at Ernie like a brother. You know, the puppets are fucking.
Sue wants to bang Kelly? What?
I don't know. I get a little bit of lesbian energy off of that.
Do you think her friend that passed away was her ex-girlfriend or ex-partner?
Oh, because she said, because
she had that best
child when her best friend died. But we don't get really many details about the best friend. It's just like a weird side note that I'd love to. I want to know more. But...
Dun dun dun! Unsolved Mysteries with Josh.
So, also, it really shocks me that there's no discussion about Kelly not voting for Jenna with the rest of the Tagi Four. So one has to think like they talked about it ahead of time, that Kelly wasn't going to vote with them.
Yeah, like why wasn't anyone mad about it?
I think it may have been editing accident. I think that conversation happened before Kelly started turning on them. That's what I think, is that actually happened like 2 episodes prior, and then they just put it in the episode. That's what I think, based on their sloppy editing this season.
Yeah. Well, significantly, Jervis's son is born this episode. They give out cigars to everyone on the beach, which is cute. Also terrifying.
But like, imagine how much you'd feel like shit if you smoked a cigar after not eating for that long and or not smoking for that long. I would be dying.
You'd be puking. It'd be gross.
And everyone smokes them. I'd be like, damn, they all feel like shit.
So in this process, Jervis explains that he has 2 children from a previous relationship and that this is his second child with his new girlfriend. And Rudy, we find out, is very against having children out of wedlock, but very supportive of abortion.
Okay, I have the exact mini monologue from Rudy here.
Okay, please.
Let's do it.
When I was growing up, if a girl was pregnant and wasn't married, you wouldn't even know it. They would take her out of town or somewhere. The girl can have an abortion. I agree with an abortion, but not having kids out of wedlock. All said while Ruby was wading in the ocean. He's just like a head, and he's like floating in the water.
So it's kind of like, does it really match Rudy though? Like, he hates gay people. slightly racist, but he's pro-abortion.
But he loves unprotected sex. It checks out for me. I'm like, yep,
Somehow it makes sense.
work, Rudy.
Rudy's like low-key gives me like a little bit of racist vibes. And so like the idea that black people should have abortions like just falls in line with Rudy's methodology.
It's a mess.
Yep.
I'm not a Rudy fan. Sorry.
I'm not surprised at all by Rudy saying that.
And just wait, it gets worse. But before it gets worse, we have a balance beam reward challenge. So there are a series of balance beams set up in the ocean. These survivors must run down the beams and then stop at the platform, a very thin platform at the end of the beam. And that proves to be the most difficult part. But the fastest 4 people advance through the first round. The fastest 2 people advance to the final round. So we'll do a few consecutive rounds. The reward is a single slice of pizza.
And also, again, pizza looks gross.
A single slice of pizza and a phone call home.
On the Ericsson World phone.
Is it at least like a big slice of pizza? You know what I mean? Or is it like
No,
one of those like stingy?
It's like maybe like this big.
And if it was like one of those like big pieces, I'd be like, cool. But like,
yeah,
I don't know how to do it.
That's stingy.
It's so hard.
That's
like that.
I'd punch them in the face if they gave me that for a reward.
You're like, oh, your reward is pizza.
I'm hungry. You're gonna be
They
that.
never said one slice. They said pizza. Your reward is pizza. They said pizza, not one piece of pizza. Imagine how duped Jervis felt. Imagine.
After that hard challenge, all you get is a lousy piece of pizza.
So, yep. And so, yeah, so we find out it's predictably or not, he just had a child. Jervis wins the reward challenge and gets to call his partner who just had a child. Back at the beach, we get back into this Rudy and his feelings about babies out of wedlock. Rudy calls babies out of wedlock garbage, quote, and says someone needs to be beating unwed parents over the head.
This whole episode quickly divulges into like half of it is challenges and the other half is just everyone on the beach's opinion about children out of wedlock.
It's what the hell is this? Like, how can someone get away with saying this? I don't care how old you are. I don't care what you've done in your life. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. And I am not. And again, rest in peace, Rudy Bosch. But 20 years ago, man, that wasn't acceptable then. It shouldn't have been acceptable then.
Rest in peace. No. Rudy is absolutely going to hell.
He is already in hell. He's dead.
Rudy is already in hell right now.
Rudy and all
hanging out with Hitler.
Children out of wedlock apparently are in hell, according to him.
He's in the bad place. Shit. So the girls, though, all seem to be speaking up for Jervis in their interviews. You know, they're saying that he's a good guy for staying connected to his kids. He clearly cares a lot about them. Richard, erstwhile, is shoring up his alliance with Sue. And Kelly is feeling very torn. She does not want to be in an alliance. She feels, and I quote, she feels like Luke Skywalker and that she crossed over to the dark side, and that doing an alliance with Rich is like doing a deal with the devil. How do we feel about all of this sort of happenings before we get into the immunity challenge?
Pick a side, Kelly.
I'm just like, girl, just pick a side. This is done. This is over with. We don't care. Like, just pick a fucking side. Mm-hmm. You know, at this point, it's not good TV. No one cares. It's boring.
Yeah. Get it together.
Kelly is a little bit of a snooze fest, though. I mean, and I didn't really realize it the first time I watched it, but then like watching when she spoiler comes back in a later season, she's kind of boring. There's not really much there to her. She's meh. Like, I mean, I'm sure she'd be fun in person, maybe. I don't know, but on the show, she's not that entertaining.
I thought she was boring this whole season, except for when she had that meltdown about losing the rowing challenge.
Yeah.
Only
she puts the meh in methy boyfriend.
Oh, that is horrifying. Oh my god! I don't know. She's single now, or she's with someone. That she's not with that guy anymore.
Come back and let's go whitewater rafting.
Let's just keep going. Come on, let's keep going.
So we get back into the immunity challenge. For this immunity challenge, the survivors have 5 minutes to collect driftwood for a fire in the first leg. Then they must race out into the water with a torch to light it at a fire in the middle of the water. They have to return and build a fire that will burn through a wick that is roughly 3 feet off the ground. So go get wood, go get fire, build the fire, build it up so that it burns through the wick. It's kind of messy. It goes exactly as is anticipated. Jervis's torch goes out twice. I mean, he's moving fast, but he is just...
There had to have been something wrong with his torch because everyone else lit that torch just fine.
Mm-hmm. And he kept going out. Richard unsurprisingly wins and does a very cute little happy dance.
Yeah.
It's a happy dance for days. He's like a wiggle, 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 wiggle. Good for you, Richard.
Mm-hmm.
Happy dance.
Especially
I wouldn't do
after coming off of that low of getting 3 votes at Tribal to now having immunity. Good for him.
Mm-hmm. Feels
for
good.
him.
Happy dance.
Mm-hmm.
So, back at the beach, Sean tries to make a move, but will only make a move if Kelly does. And Richard, meanwhile, is deciding if she'll be punished. Talking about Kelly like a little Disney villain, like we're deciding if she'll be punished.
And then you also there's a scene with Jervis putting a target on his back and Colleen putting a duck on her back. That's interesting. They're doing it at Tribal. So they show up to Tribal in outfit attire. They know their place.
Mm-hmm.
Colleen, you could have prevented it, girl.
One of my favorite speeches of the season happens at this Tribal, where when Sue is asked about alliances, she's like, political donations, that's an alliance. You give money to your church, trying to get into heaven, that's an alliance. And Sue's
She
like,
somehow talks about like insurance at one point. I'm like,
putting money into stocks, that's an alliance.
girl, you do whatever you need to do to get that water off that duck's back, girl.
Debating if OJ killed Nicole, that's an alliance. Okay.
oh, it's so much.
Truly a glorious moment for her.
Truly a great moment for Sue. When Rich is asked about an alliance, I compared his response to like an old like female Hollywood film star who just murdered her husband when Jeff asks about alliances, and Rich just goes, I have no idea.
Jeez.
Is there?
Jeez. He like shakes his head like, uh-oh.
He clutches his pearls when he answers that question.
Jeez, is there?
The question was, is there any way to break up your alliance? So Jeff isn't even trying to get them to admit that there's an alliance. He's like, how would you break up your own alliance? And Rich is like, I don't know what you mean.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Unsurprisingly, for this season at least, Kelly does not make any major moves, and Jervis, our boy, paying no rent from day one till now, goes home.
R.I.P. Jervis, we love you.
R.I.P. baby.
Leaving Sitting Duck still in the competition.
Mm-hmm.
No, we are not going to call her Colleen anymore. We are now going to refer to her as Sitting Duck.
You have fun with that, but my girl Colleen is the last Pagong standing in the competition. I mean, wow. So, any final thoughts on this episode, how it went down before we get into sort of our overall thoughts?
Way to just really kick Jervis while he should have been celebrating. Like, Jervis had a baby this episode. He shared his one piece of pizza with everybody, and then they voted him out. So
You see in future seasons, without giving anything away, there are other contestants who, when they find out that they are having a child or that they have had a child, they keep that information to themselves,
Oh,
these
yeah.
major fun life events, because that can put it's any unnecessary attention in Survivor is dangerous.
Yeah.
I know. And they didn't give Jervis that option here.
Mhm.
I just think, once again, I'm going to say it last time because this is his last episode, but Jervis deserves more credit. I think he's a great player. And I think that if the show was on today, he would have been one of the top 3 on that front and center.
Easily. I think Jervis did a great job. He was great television. He was strategizing even if he didn't know it. He was playing a wonderful social game. I put him easily in the top 3 in my mind. So, Jervis, we'll miss you from here on out.
So, okay, so let's talk though. Who is our top player of the episode? Josh, why don't you start us off?
Okay, let's see my notes here. My top episode player. Okay, so both our favorite ladies are going to hate me for this. My top player is Colleen. And the reason is because she is the last Pagong member standing. I don't care how she did it, but she was able to get her way through a Pagonging and become the last Pagong member standing. And I have respect for that. I think she has a good read on people. Yes, she isn't saying anything, and that might be bad gameplay, but like, she is the last one standing, and you got to give her props for it. Sorry.
I don't know how I feel about that. Alex, who's your top player of the episode?
My top player of the episode is Richard Hatch because he was petty as fuck the whole time. He literally has made multiple strategies to deflect the fact that he's in an alliance. He gaslit the host literally in front of everyone by saying, "Is there G's?" He was naked again, which I always love because it's a huge game move. Richard won his immunity after getting 3 votes against him. He's really just like marking his territory at this point and making some big game moves. So Richard is really taking the cake right now, in my mind.
Okay. Do you know what? I agree with you. Less enthusiastically, but I do agree with you. I said Richard, I guess. I feel that this stage that we are in right now, it's between the time period that, and we see this in other seasons as well, it's between the time period that there are any viable threats, external threats, and the time that a strong alliance has to cannibalize itself. And there's usually a couple of votes in there where there's nothing that the prey can do, and the alliance members decide that they are not jumping ship. And so it's just a couple of easy votes, not a lot of strategizing, not a lot of scrambling. It just sort of happens. So I'm like, Richard put it into motion. Was amusing, Richard, I guess. But now we get into our bottoms. Who's your bottom today, Josh?
My bottom is actually Kelly Wigglesworth because she's kind of boring, but she really is being too wishy-washy. She can't make her mind up of what she wants to do. And I just think that's straight up bad gameplay. I think it's building a target. It's making Sue and Richard against her. So she's not really on good with anyone. I think no one really trusts her because she can't make her mind up of what she wants to do. So Kelly Wigglesworth.
Okay. Alex, how about you?
Surprise, I'm going to say Colleen. Colleen is the bottom player right now because it's literally all her fault that this happened. She had every opportunity to step in and not have this go down. The only close second in my mind to bottom player is Sean because he has the worst strategy in Survivor history.
I forgot he was still on the show, honestly.
I forgot he was even there. That's exactly why he is not the bottom player this week. Colleen gets that role because she had every opportunity for this not to happen. She could have taken Richard Hatch out, and she didn't. That is why she is on the bottom for me, because she missed her opportunity to take out a big fish. Literally.
I have to say, for me, it's Kelly this week. We have not seen where Kelly will go. Wink, wink, spoiler alert. And so at this stage, she's just playing sloppy. You know, she's playing her options very publicly without making any moves. And I think that is absolutely to her detriment. Now let's get into Hot Mess Express. Chugga chugga, choo choo. Alex, kick it off for me. Who is your hot mess of the episode?
My hot mess of the episode is a little different than my normal hot mess picks. My hot mess this week is the meat at the barbecue, because I cannot get it out of my mind.
A literal hot mess.
It is the most disgusting thing I've seen in my life. It gives me nightmares. It is literally gray. Please go look at it. It's episode 9, the meat in the reward challenge. Horrifying. Thank you.
Incredible choice. Oh Lord. Oh.
Okay. Terrifying. I can't compete with that.
So
am I wrong?
I have to say, my hot mess of the episode is Rudy. Homeboy burns the cuttlefish, spurring the Richard temper tantrum. He is also, that cuttlefish was a brick. Okay, that wasn't just burnt, that was burnt. I mean, like, how bad do you have to be to like watch that happen? Just be like, oh, I think it's okay. I don't know. He's a terrible person. Also, like the unwed mother with the homophobia, it just all of it came together for me being like, fuck you, Rudy. Like, you're literally in hell right now. Ha ha. Let me drink some water. Wonder what that's like. Oh, ugh. So good. So refreshing.
My hot mess is Sean, because he's an idiot. And the alphabet strategy is ridiculous. There's so many bad players. He's just like the cream of the crop for idiot and fool of Survivor. So Sean definitely is my person, no question.
Okay, good to hear. So with that in mind, we want to have as our little closing, we want to have a little birthday party for our favorite Richard Hatch. So we are going to talk about how we personally would love to celebrate Richard's birthday. So, Josh, did you have anything that you wanted to start with?
So happy birthday to Richard's birthday celebration! What? So what I would do for Richard's birthday is I would just get like a bunch of like leather daddies and assless chaps
on the island.
I'd ship them all out there. They'd all be wearing like harnesses, and then have like a bunch of toys and poppers, and they'd just be like just going at Richard all day. That's Richard's birthday. Go him.
Thank you, Josh.
Basic birthday.
I was like, bring him a coconut. You were like
Everyone takes it differently, honey.
Alex, what would you do to celebrate Richard's birthday on the island?
To celebrate Richard's birthday on the island, I would fly out Trinity the Tuck Taylor to visit Richard Hatch on the island and give him a personal tucking lesson like she does for her All-Stars talent challenge, because he very clearly wants to learn and wants to maybe do drag, and just have him get a whole drag makeover for his birthday.
Or just, I feel like, just so he could walk around with Barbie Puss, like, on camera in front of America.
The tuck, but, you know, tucking panties, get the classic Trinity the Tuck going on so he can walk around the island like that. Happy birthday, Richard. Now you don't have
Happy birthday,
to do
baby.
it.
Okay, well, if we're flying people in for Richard's birthday, I mean, I feel like I would want to fly in Cher for a special performance. Richard is a classic gay. Classic gays love one thing, that is Cher, but like more so because I want to see Cher on a desert island. Like that sort of like lack of like I want to see Cher walk in sand.
Forget walking children and nature. Walking Cher in sand.
What was that, John?
Forget walking children.
Mermaids? Is it like
What movie?
Mermaids?
Mermaids. I have seen Mermaids. She is a young woman in Mermaids, or a much younger. I want to see current Cher walk in sand.
75-year-old Cher.
I love her so much. I want to see her in nature.
Good for you.
But folks, that is all the time that we have for today. Alex, let the people know where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at alexknowsitall.jpg, and you can find me on Twitter at alexknowsitall_.
And folks, please remember to follow the Couch Potato Queens on Twitter. That is Couch Potato QWNZ, Couch Potato Queens. Also like us at the Couch Potato Queens podcast on Facebook. We are working on getting y'all some other ways to access us. But until then, remember to always outwit, outlast,
and out gay, honey.
bye.